Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2683 Relic Resources 1. The Dragon Clan belong to the fifth generation of the Ihuan people, and they are separated from the Star Clan by an era. The two groups have never clashed, but Bai Longzi still gave it a very high evaluation. Bai Longzi told Zhang Yi that the Starry Sky Clan was indeed incredibly powerful in the past, but it was best not to touch their ruins casually, as they were bound to be dangerous. Unlike the peaceful Aihen clan, the Star Clan is an extremely warlike race. Given Zhang Yi's current strength, going there would definitely be extremely dangerous. After listening, Zhang Yi remained silent for a moment, then said, "Yes, if I don't go and miss this opportunity, will I never have such an opportunity again?" He looked at Bai Longzi, a barely perceptible glint of determination flashing in his eyes. Bai Longzi did not answer immediately, but sighed softly. "If you insist on going, then be careful. Although the Star Clan is extinct, their ruins are anything but simple. That's no ordinary remnant of civilization. It's a battle remnant rife with destructive power. If you can gain something, that would be a good thing, but if you trigger a crisis in the Star Clan ruins, the consequences would be unimaginable." Zhang Yi offered his suggestion again. "Can the dragons come with us? We want to get 1 or 2/10 of the resources we acquire." Bai Longzi shook his head slightly, rejecting Zhang Yi's suggestion. "We dragons have our own path, and do not need to rely on their power. You can keep these relics." His expression was indifferent. Although he felt a little emotional when he mentioned the Star Clan, there was no trace of covetousness in his eyes. Zhang Yi's heart trembled involuntarily. Is this the source of the dragon race's confidence? Bai Longzi's attitude clearly showed that he didn't care about the Starry Sky Clan's ruins at all. After all, it makes sense. How could a powerful race that ruled the Fifth Age, suppressed the drug gods, and still retains its heritage covet the meager remains of a defeated race? Zhang Yi touched his nose and thought to himself, "You're so high and mighty, but I'm really poor." Zhang Yi didn't say anything more, silently pondering Bai Longzi's words. In the end, he made up his mind and decided to go anyway. In the following days, the kingdom of Zipin kept asking Zhang Yi if he was willing to go to the universe to explore the ruins of the Star Clan. The attitude of the Aminomi no Naka no Kami is extremely sincere. He stated that Zhang Yi's space capabilities were indispensable to their trip. Without Zhang Yi's support, their aviation technology would not have been able to reach the Star Corridor. After all, with their current level of technology, a distance of 3.2 light-years would require at least several dozen miles of flight to reach. At that time, the Starry Sky Corridor had already flown away to another place. After being asked more than 10 times, Zhang Yi finally agreed. He didn't completely trust these ancient races, but the power contained in the Starry Sky Clan ruins did indeed tempt him. "I can consider adding this to the list, but we need to discuss it carefully." Hearing that Zhang Yi's tone had softened, Ten no Manaka no Kami was overjoyed. He immediately said, "All right, I'll call over representatives from other ethnic groups right now, and we'll discuss it together." Therefore, Zhang Yi and representatives of the 5 major ethnic groups held a lengthy discussion via virtual meeting. 3-dimensional images appeared before Zhang Yi, who looked at those familiar figures. Kong of the Sky Clan, Guchuan of the Titan Clan, Kroba of the Fong Wolf Clan, and Gu of the Ironclad Clan. Upon seeing them, Zhang Yi opened the door and said, "You want me to leave Huashu Kingdom and go to the Starry Sky? Could it be you're trying to trick me?" As he spoke, his cold gaze swept over the 5 people present. The 5, including Ten no Manaka no Kami, looked astonished. Representatives from the 5 major ethnic groups shook their heads, indicating that they had no such intention. The main god of the Heavenly Palace shook his head helplessly. "Chaos Pavilion, how could you think like that? The Starry Sky is your home ground, and you possess world-class aviation technology and warships. Isn't it tantamount to digging our own grave if we clash with you in the universe? Kong from the Celestial Clan also spoke up, saying, "We had no intention of harming you, Chaos. Without your interstellar travel technology, we wouldn't even have the chance to enter the Star Corridor. We hope to share this treasure together." Gu Ji's voice came from the side. "It is because of you, Zhang Yi, that we were able to comprehend the mysteries of spatial abilities and create a spaceship with the ability to jump through space. Without you, we would not have been able to travel such a long distance at all." Kroba of the Fong Wolf clan also stated, "We have absolutely no ill intentions towards you. If we were to do anything to you, we would be in serious trouble. At that time, no one would be able to escape." After hearing these words, Zhang Yi understood even more clearly the true intentions of these races. Although they appeared so friendly, he remained vigilant. That would be for the best. He listened to what these people said, but didn't completely believe them. However, Zhang Yi found it somewhat unbelievable that they claimed to lack the capability for powerful space travel. Because they are hidden among hundreds of millions of people in the world they need to constantly avoid crises such as the Shell movement and invasions by other groups, in addition to the fact that the reproduction of the group is restricted. Technological advancements are almost impossible to achieve. One will inevitably take a detour. Even if they once possessed an incredibly brilliant civilization, after hundreds of millions of years of dormancy, their interstellar travel technology has long since declined. Then, Zhang Yi made his own request. "In that case, let's talk about the specific details of the cooperation. Whatever we obtain in the Starry Sky Corridor, I should get 30%. Upon hearing Zhang Yi's agreement to go to the Starry Sky Corridor, the representatives of the 5 major races' eyes lit up immediately. Hearing that he was asking for 30% of the profits, this outrageous demand still made everyone's expressions somewhat strange. 30% is far too much. Gu said in a muffled voice, "This is hard for me to accept." Zhang Yi smiled faintly, spread his hands, and said, "Without my aviation technology support, you wouldn't be able to get there, right?" The god of the heavenly realm frowned. "Without my star coordinates, you can't find the exact location and entrance of the Star Corridor, can you?" After a heated debate, the 5 major groups finally agreed to Zhang Yi's request and decided to give him 25% of the profits. The group finalized the details of the collaboration and agreed to depart in 3 days. Everyone remained silent and was not allowed to disclose any information to the outside world. After ending the 3D video communication, Zhang Yi leaned back lazily on the sofa. He was dressed in black loungewear that fit his body perfectly, highlighting his well-toned physique and giving him the appearance of a dragon in hiding. "They're so easy to talk to. I wouldn't believe there wasn't a trap." He smiled and squinted his eyes. "But really, do you really know who the hunter is and who the prey is?" Chapter 2684 Relic Resources 2. After concluding his meeting with representatives of the 5 major ethnic groups, Zhang Yi immediately convened a meeting with the core members of the Sky Sea Fortress for discussion. It was called a discussion, but it was basically just a notification. Because Tianhai and even Huashu Kingdom's current actions depend on the 2-person team, Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin. Once they decide to do something, they will carry it out. Deng Shintong immediately offered a different perspective. "Zhang Yi, this operation is far too dangerous, especially since the attitudes of the 5 major races are not transparent. They may have designs on you, or even pose a potential threat." Zhang Yi smiled faintly and replied in a relaxed tone, "This opportunity is very important. If we miss it, we may never have another chance like this. We must seize it. Don't worry, I will be careful." Deng Shintong and the others exchanged glances and finally sighed. "Since you have made your decision, there's nothing more we can say." They can trust Zhang Yi's judgment and prepare for his safety. Zhang Yi said a few more words to them, and after hearing them, everyone understood Zhang Yi's intentions and therefore stopped trying to stop him. To ensure the safety of Huashu Kingdom after Zhang Yi's departure, Deng Shintong, Bailey Chongqing, Wu Di, and others were assigned to guard the home. Now, regardless of whether Zhang Yi is present, the Huashu Kingdom already possesses sufficiently strong defensive capabilities. Moreover, The high-ranking officials of the 5 major races will travel to the universe with Zhang Yi, so there will be no danger in the short term. 3 days later, at dawn, Zhang Yi briefly greeted Ho Tu and the others, bid farewell to his companions from Huashu Kingdom, and decided to set off. This time, he was not only doing it to improve his own strength, but also for the future of the Huashu Kingdom and to find the power that belonged to them in that unknown universe. Sitting in the cockpit of the Dreamer, Zhang Yi stared intently at the deep space ahead, his mind calm. He knew that this journey through space was far more complicated than the outside world imagined. Every step he takes determines the future of the Huashu Kingdom and may even change the entire universe as Gaju, a concept encompassing both the overall structure and the overall pattern of the universe. The god of heavenly Manhwa and the representatives of the 5 major races stood in the cabin, casually discussing their upcoming journey to the Star Corridor. They were somewhat nervous, as this operation was crucial to the future of their community. Moreover, they also harbored a vague sense of anticipation for the legendary ruins of the Star Clan. Even though I know it's dangerous, what if I can find treasure there? Zhang Yi came from Mars, bringing back a great deal of resources and advancing technology. They saw it with their own eyes. How could they not be envious? The Dreamer spacecraft has left the solar system and entered the vast and boundless depths of the universe. The 5 races' spaceships are like small satellites hovering around the Dreamer. Their size, shape, and technology are simply insignificant compared to the Dreamer. Compared to Zhang Yi's Dreamer, the spaceships of the 5 races seemed insignificant, like abandoned wreckage wandering in this desolate universe. Lu Ran controlled its movement from the driver's seat. Space jump technology has been incorporated into the Dreamer spacecraft. By folding space to jump, one can achieve displacement that exceeds the speed of light. The method is to open spatial channels one by one and then cross the nodes in space. The technical guidance for this project was naturally provided by Zhang Yi with the assistance of the Ihan tribe engineers. 2 months passed quickly, and the Dreamer carried them away from the solar system and into the deep universe. Zhang Yi did not let his guard down. On the contrary, he was more vigilant than ever. Although the leaders of the 5 major races maintained a friendly relationship with him on the surface, he knew in his heart that their intentions were not simple. Zhang Yi knew that his power was enough to shake the foundation of a Ming dynasty. But this mission is different. He must be cautious, especially given the subtle attitudes of the 5 major races. As time went by, the high-ranking officials of the 5 races gradually lowered their guard aboard the Dreamer spaceship, and they began to reveal some information in their casual conversations. Initially, they were talking about strange phenomena in the starry sky corridor, but as the conversation deepened, their content became increasingly strange. Aminomi no Minakata no Kami. After we successfully reach the Star Corridor, how do we lead chaos into that dangerous area? We need to eliminate him so that we can explore this ruin without any worries. The celestial race's netherworld was visibly excited, clearly filled with anticipation for receiving the netherworld race's legacy. Aminamiki chuckled lightly, seemingly unsurprised by the question. The Star Corridor is not a simple place. It is full of unknown dangers. The god-level figure who failed in his attempt to open up a new universe not only harbors immense resentment, but also has countless unsolved mysteries. Even if we can enter that area, we may not be able to obtain the inheritance safely. As for Chaos, although he is not powerful enough to be feared, killing him will probably not be a simple matter. Upon hearing this, Kong frowned slightly. Wouldn't it be a waste of such a good opportunity if we didn't just lead him into the danger zone? The Starry Sky Corridor is indeed full of dangers, and we advise you to proceed with caution. The tone of Ten no Manaka no Kami was slightly wary. That place is dangerous, and it is definitely not something that a being of our level can easily touch. We cannot take risks lightly. We must be cautious. Even Chaos might not be able to survive in that area. 6 spaceships travel through the dark and desolate universe. They would exchange information every day. On the warships of the 5 ancient races, in addition to night-level warriors, a group of elite warriors were also on board. They were well prepared for this operation, ensuring Zhang Yi's complete elimination. 5 warships circled the Dreamer, eyeing it menacingly. 2 more months passed, and the Dreamer finally brought them close to the star corridor. When that enormous, black hole-like object came into view, everyone held their breath and stared at it. Unlike any known cosmic phenomenon, the starry sky corridor is surrounded by a blue cosmic glow, resembling an abyss that devours everything. It devours the surrounding celestial bodies on one side, while on the other side it seems to be an endless void, with no predictable destination. Zhang Yi's eyes were sharp. He knew that behind all these seemingly beautiful and wondrous sights lay a deadly trap. The 5 races all showed excited expressions, their eyes gleaming with greed. No Manaka said to Zhang Yi, "This is the Star Corridor. We've finally arrived, and will soon receive the Star Clan's legacy." Chapter 2685, What I Saw One. As the fleet slowed down, the starry sky was no longer the familiar black curtain they knew. The entire universe before it seemed as if an invisible hand had hollowed it out, forming a huge vortex stretching across the depths of the void. That thing hung silently in the boundless darkness, yet it occupied everyone's view. That celestial body, however, far exceeds the concept of a celestial body. It resembles a halo spanning galaxies, or a twisted, looping cosmic river, its main body exhibiting an eerie blue-black hue. The outer edge of the celestial body was shrouded in layers of radiance, as if countless galaxies were twisted into a thick rope, tightly strangling the throat of the universe. The bridge of the Dreamer was quiet. Even though they had seen the battlefield of the planet, the sealed land of the Druk giant, and the space city left behind by the Ihan race, they couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of insignificance when facing this thing. Even the sun loses its luster when it stands before it. A civilization that once developed to near the pinnacle of the universe, even the ruins they left behind can illuminate the starry sky. "This is the starry sky corridor?" Yang Xinshin asked softly. Her voice lacked the usual banter, only a deep, resonant tone, conveying a sense of awe for the unknown, powerful, and mysterious. In the face of such a colossal cosmic entity, even speaking loudly feels like a desecration to humankind. Lu Ran tapped the control panel lightly with his fingers, but his eyes were fixed on the enormous object on the light screen. The blue light spread out little by little in her pupils, as if it wanted to swallow her whole. The data flooded the screen like a waterfall. Gravity readings were fluctuating wildly. The curvature of space was exhibiting a completely unconventional distorted curve, and energy fluctuations had even exceeded the upper limit initially set by human instruments. Structurally, this massive celestial body is closer to a stable artificial singularity channel. Ling's voice rang out on the bridge, calm and clear. Not a black hole of natural shape, but a path brutally carved out of the structure of the universe by some civilization. At the end of this starry corridor, perhaps another universe is connected. They transcend the no-universe and travel to other parallel universes, attempting to escape the fate bestowed upon them by the Creator. More than 2 billion years ago, a once magnificent civilization actually came to this. Zhang Yi leaned back in the captain's chair, his gaze passing through the holographic screen as he quietly surveyed the road that stretched across the starry sky. His eyes were wide open, reflecting the enormous, blue celestial body that resembled a cosmic vortex. Transcending fate, even if I am defeated, I am still great enough. One end of the star corridor was frantically devouring the surrounding celestial bodies. In the distance, the originally stable stars were forcibly pulled out into thin streaks of light, like long golden hair being forcibly plucked out, before finally disappearing into the deep blue void. But at its other end, the path to which it leads is completely obscured. That darkness, where even light refuses to linger. To the starry sky corridor. On the right side of the Tianhai, a warship with an ancient yet magnificent design slowly approached. The bow of the ship is adorned with a totem symbolizing the authority of the Zeepin clan. The Aminomi no Naka no Kami stands on his bridge, his face pressed against the light screen, his eyes almost overflowing with flames. We've finally arrived. His voice was transmitted to the dreamer via an encrypted channel. His barely suppressed excitement was clearly audible in his words. Through the aviation glass, he could see the dreamer, a warship 10 times larger than theirs, hundreds of kilometers away. The eyes of the god Aim no Manaka no Sokami were full of calculation. Once you enter the starry sky corridor, it becomes his home turf. Because they possessed far more intelligence, they didn't share it with Zhang-Yi or the other 4 ancient civilizations. By then, not only could they take the opportunity to eliminate Zhang-Yi, but they would also have the chance to see some benefits at the edge of the starry sky corridor. However, he didn't have the courage to venture deeper. Compared to the Star Clan, he, a mere knight, was less than an ant. On the other side, the Celestial Clan's flagship lit up with a golden emblem. Kong stood on the platform at the center of the flagship, arms outstretched, as if embracing the entire sea of stars. "Let's go over there quickly." Kong couldn't help but speak, his voice high-pitched. "If we can obtain the relics of the Star Clan, it will make our civilization even stronger. We might even find an opportunity to break through the genetic lock and reach the Omega level." On the bow of the Fongwolf clan ship, a slender figure rested his hands on the edge of the control panel, his fangs slightly protruding, his eyes filled with wildness. "Omega." Kroba licked the corner of his mouth. "From now on, who will still hide in the underground world of Earth and eke out a living? Who will still have to act according to the whims of the Druckers? We can stand at the very top of the universe." On the Titan Bridge, Guchuan said in a deep voice, "Only by reaching Omega will we be qualified to control our own destiny. At that time, the Druck gods will be nothing more than obstacles in our path." "Creator." He paused, a look of near-fanatical fervor appearing on his face. "Even the Creator cannot decide the life and death of Omega warriors." Gugo of the Ironclad clan gave a soft, cold snort, and dark red crack patterns appeared on his breastplate, the ancient mark of the Ironclad clan. "In the end, as long as we can obtain the Star Clan's legacy, we will have the right to sit back at the card table." He looked toward the direction where the dreamer was, his tone a mixture of jealousy and resentment. "Otherwise, in the future we will only be able to act according to the whims of others." The channel was filled with a buzzing of agreement. The ancient civilization's tabletops, each with burning eyes, resemble a group of gold prospectors standing at the entrance of a mine, seeing the glimmer of gold. Aminomi no Naka no Kami took a deep breath, calmed his rapidly beating heart, and turned to look at the dreamer. "Lord Chaos." He spoke respectfully, but his tone couldn't hide his excitement. "Please lead us into the starry sky corridor." Silence reigned on the bridge of the USS Dreamer. Lu Ran, Liang Yu, and Yang Xinxin all focused their attention on Zhang Yi, awaiting his decision. Zhang Yi slowly stood up. He didn't answer immediately, but calmly looked at the vast vortex of stars for a few seconds. In his eyes, that colossal blue-black object resembled a wound that had completely torn open the skin of the universe. The wound stretches for light years, its edges oozing the blood of stars, the flesh of nebulae, and fragments of time and space. "This is the starry sky corridor." He repeated the goal mentioned by the great civilization in a low voice, a faint smile curving his lips. The smile was faint, yet as cold as cosmic background radiation. "It is already 3.2 light-years away from Earth. So now, it's time for this farce to end." Chapter 2686, What I Saw Too. He made a casual, insignificant comment, his voice barely audible, yet it reached the ears of everyone on the bridge. Yang Xinxin turned her head and glanced at him. There was no surprise in her eyes, only a smile that said, "It's finally about to begin." Lu Karen gently exhaled and placed her palm on the energy interface of the main control panel. A silvery white mechanical structure extended from her wrist, instantly connecting with the entire Dreamer's nuclear power system. "The main gun charging circuit has been preheated," she reported in a low voice. "The antimatter chamber is stable, the annihilation field is on standby, and the quantum crosshair locking module can be activated at any time." Ling's virtual projection lit up in midair. Her figure seemed to be composed of countless blue light points, and her eyes shone with a cold, data-driven light. Once the Antimatter Star Destroyer fires at full power, its trajectory will be slightly pulled by the gravitational field of the star corridor, requiring several real-time corrections. The hit rate is expected to be 99.7%. Zhang Yi nodded. He looked up at the 5 bright warships in the holographic projection. The Celestial Clan's flagship is entirely gold and white, with ancient reliefs and divine patterns engraved all over its exterior, resembling a temple floating in the universe. The warships of the Zepan Kingdom have rounded lines, and their hulls are covered with a layer of viscous, water-blue energy shield, resembling a giant whale swimming in the deep sea. The Fangwolf clan's warship resembled a ferocious beast crouching on a steel ridge, its prow shaped like a wolf's head, a hybrid of mechanical and skeletal architecture. The Titan warships were rugged and massive, each armor plate resembling a block of metal rock shaped by being hammered into shape. The Ironclad clan's warships resembled enormous metal coffins, silent, heavy, and airtight. The 5 warships are slowly adjusting their formation, trying to get closer to the star corridor. They place the Dreamer in the center of the formation, as if advancing around a key piece, or as if coercion was used to pull the Dreamer forward. In the eyes of the 5 ethnic groups, Zhang Yi was now like a fish on a chopping board. After they achieved a spatial jump to this place, they didn't even need to disguise themselves anymore. No matter how strong Zhang Yi was, he dared not go against the will of their 5-race alliance. They were all too aware of the Tsungyuan clan's technological prowess. It was indeed incredibly powerful, but over hundreds of millions of years, it had become decayed and outdated. The Dreamer, a warship built by the main body of the Tsungyuan clan, was within their expectations in terms of combat power and could not cause too much of a stir. Chaos Pavilion, let's hurry over there. The voice of the god of the heavenly realm was somewhat urgent, as if he wanted to push Zhang Yi into the abyss. Let's work together to seize the Star Clan's treasure. Okay. Zhang Yi smiled and slowly opened the door, speaking softly. In an instant, the entire Dreamer seemed to have been switched on. The ship's original gentle silver-white luster vanished instantly, replaced by a deep, almost black metallic sheen. The ship's lines subtly changed, and energy patterns that were originally hidden in the seams of the armor lit up, spreading from the bow to the stern like flowing veins of fire. On the bridge, the thick armor scales slowly opened, and a huge circular turret rose from it. It wasn't a cannon barrel in the traditional sense. It was a series of concentric rings that narrowed inwards, with invisible energy ripples suspended between each ring. At the very center of the ring structure, there was utter darkness. That kind of black has no reflection, no starlight, as if a piece of true nothingness has been dug out and stuffed into it. Antimatter Planet Destroyer, begin pre-charging. Liu Karen's voice tightened slightly, but she suppressed her excitement. The energy shield around the Dreamer began to shrink, and the defensive force field that originally covered the entire ship converged towards the turret. All redundant systems were forcibly shut down, the lighting became dim, and the auxiliary lights in the bridge switched to red combat readiness lights, reflecting on every face. On the 5-year-old warship, someone finally noticed that something was wrong. What is that? The Celestial Clan flagship's sensory officer's pupils constricted as he stared intently at the Dreamer projected on the screen. In their field of vision, a ring of extremely complex energy structure suddenly lit up on the Dreamer, a structure they had seen before on the ship. Is it some kind of ultra-high-density energy focusing device? The energy index is still rising. It's reached a dangerous threshold. What are they trying to do? The Celestial Warrior's voice trembled. Their shipboard computing system was trying to categorize this energy source, but kept getting errors, eventually returning a simple message. Database limit exceeded. Chaos Pavilion, what are you doing? The Celestial Clan member opened a public channel, his tone relatively calm, yet tinged with unease. On the bridge of the Dreamer, Zhang Yi slowly lowered his head and glanced at the tactical console beside him. With a light tap of his fingertip, a dotted line landed on the Celestial Clan's flagship. What are we doing? We're going to do something fun, of course. Luke Heron responded promptly. Quantum crosshair calibrated. Target: Celestial flagship. Armor material: Holy Radiance metal composite plate. Main defensive force field: high-level Holy Light shield. Expected duration: less than 0.02 seconds if hit head-on by antimatter ray. Very good. Although activating the antimatter planet-destroying cannon requires warm-up time, they have nowhere to escape in the universe, don't they? Zhang Yi said in a low voice. He looked up at the gleaming golden temple warship, a slight smile playing on his lips. Let's begin. Antimatter compartment open. Luke Heron's fingers seemed to have pressed a forbidden button in some universe. The extreme blackness in the center of the turret suddenly trembled slightly, as if the entire space had been twisted in the middle. In an instant, all the light seemed to be sucked out, and a small area in front of the bow of the ship suddenly became dark. Immediately afterwards, a black beam of light, visible to the naked eye, suddenly burst forth. That was no ordinary darkness. The beam of light drew a straight line in the void, yet strange spatial ripples constantly spilled out from its edges, as if reality itself was being torn open. It emerged from the bow of the Dreamer and, almost instantly, traversed the hundreds of kilometers between the two ships. The Celestial Clan flagship didn't have time to fully upgrade its defensive field before the black light silently pierced through its shield. The golden holy light shield trembled violently for a moment, like a thin piece of ice thrown into boiling water, flickering for a second before collapsing completely. In an instant, black light entered the ship's hull. From the outside, it just looks like there's a small black hole on the hull, about the size of a fist. The armor surrounding the black hole wasn't blown away. It simply vanished quietly, as if it had never existed, leaving not even a fragment. Then there was the implosion. First there was a slight tremor, followed by a moment of silence. It was as if the entire warship had been put on pause. Then, a huge black bubble suddenly bulged out from the hole, as if the entire ship had been kicked hard from the inside. In that instant, cracks appeared all over the golden-white hull, the energy channels were torn apart, and the holy light core suddenly burst forth in reverse. In an instant, all the cracks receded inward, and the ship began to collapse in the direction from which the black light had been shot. Here we end today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Kindly do also subscribe to my gaming channel. I have to Fina a way to survive. Thanks.
Alright, that's it for today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises.